Most people who want to start a business, they will tell you, I need an office space, I need employees. I mean, that's it. For you to start a business, you only need customers. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. I mean, I didn't know this. Starting a business is the easiest thing because you only need to ask yourself, what am I good at? The most difficult thing is now growing this business. I got so many media interviews, right, left, and center. You're famously broke. So all that confusion and being in debt led me into depression for 14 months.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and as always, each and every week we have a very interesting show lined up, and today it's no different because I have with me a gentleman who's an entrepreneur, who's a millennial just as myself, and today we're going to be getting his perspective as a millennial running a business in this particular country of ours and some of the interesting insights you can gain from him. But before I get to introduce my guest, I'd like to remind you that you're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur, because at the Capital Club you have access to a wide variety of amenities. Not only do you have access to our meeting rooms whereby you can conduct your meeting, you can actually hold your events here, you can actually entertain your guests here, you can have your gym, you can have your spa, and everything done right here at the Capital Club. As always, I'm also reminding you that two of my books, one Business Conquest and the other Food for Thought, are actually out at the Textbook Center, so grab yourself a copy. The gentleman I'm speaking about is, it's so weird having a friend on the show, but he actually decides to be right here on the show. Kimani Patrick, who's the founder and the CEO of Callistic Group. Calstic. Hope I got it right. Calstic.
Calstic, yes.
Hizi jina ngumu mnatoa wapi?
Maisha ni ngumu.
And you have no cows. It's Calstic Group.
It's Calstic, yes.
Thanks so much for having come to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Looking all sharp.
Thank you.
Masama leo ni three-piece suit.
Kabisa.
And the first question I like starting all my conversations with, what exactly are you most grateful for today?
Life. Good life, good health. I'm very grateful to God for that. And giving me another chance. See, I tell people, if you wake up in the morning, you can breathe, you can think, you can see, and all your body parts are functioning. I mean, that's a very big opportunity that most people don't have. So I'm very much grateful to God for this wonderful day.
I think sometimes you overlook the small things that you can still...
It's the little things that really matter. Let me tell you, as long as your brain can function, your brain, leave alone everything else, your brain can function. And you can see, and you can hear, and you can talk. I mean, there's a lot of things you can accomplish.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
We're talking about, what's it called, your journey offline.
Yeah.
And maybe we can start at this particular point.
Yeah.
Ulikata kumaliza degree. Why? Education is too much degrees. You're like,
no, it's not even too much degrees. I mean, let's be honest. This is what happened. I mean, I spent 4 years at the University of Nairobi between 2013 and 2016. And I was very passionate about mathematics.
So what were you studying?
Since when I was young. And I was studying a Bachelor of Arts in Arts, General. And I don't know whether it's still the case, but back then, when you enroll for Bachelor of Arts, people used to call it Bachelor of anything.
Yeah.
It was the most underrated course in uni. I mean, I don't know why until today, you know, people go to uni to study sciences, computer science, engineering, dentistry, things to do with healthcare and all those things. But now we are here to do Bachelor of Arts, you know, sociology, political science, communication. So, but before we get there, there's always a story behind a story. So, back in my village, when I made it to uni, or when I got the cut-off marks by the Joint Admissions Board back then, I talked to a friend of mine that I knew, and I asked him, now, I've been in the village, I want to go to the city and study. And he was at the University of Nairobi. So I asked him, what is that course that I can choose that it will guarantee me a placement at the University of Nairobi? He told me, choose BA. Choose Bachelor of Arts. Because other people choose economics,
law,
BCom, medicine as the first and the second option. And then BA does not have a place. So if you choose BA as the first option, you are guaranteed to make it to the University of Nairobi. So for me, mainly I chose the university and not the course. Because I wanted to go there and then see what they're offering and then choose.
So you just wanted to get out of the village.
Exactly. So I chose BA, and luckily I got admitted to the University of Nairobi, academic year 2012-2013. But back then you used to stay close to 2 years
before joining university.
So you get your calling letter. I got my calling letter in 2012, but I was to join uni in May of 2013. So I joined uni, and you were told during orientation, you were told now Bachelor of Arts, there is 21 disciplines in it, and you have to choose 3.
Oh, just 21?
Yes, 21.
Yeah.
All these things I was mentioning, it's not anything, it is a lot of things. I mean, social sciences are so many. So you choose 3, you pursue in your first and the second year. And then later, you can either specialize. These people who specialize in social works, political science, or double major. So you drop 1, and then you have 2 that you will go along with in 3rd year and 4th year, or major and minor. So you have 1 major, which in your 3rd year and 4th year, you take, every semester you take 3 units, and then the minor discipline, you take 1 unit in your coursework. So, as I mentioned, I was very passionate about economics, mathematics. So I chose economics, first option. They said, for you to choose economics, you must have a B+ in mathematics. I mean, I had an A. So
you're an A student.
That was, I was not an A student, an A student in mathematics. There's a difference. I had an A in mathematics, so I qualified to pursue economics. And then I chose mathematics, of course. I wanted to do a lot of mathematics. Then I didn't really know what to do in my as my third choice, which was not really, it's not something I was thinking too much about, because I mean, as long as I have economics and mathematics, I mean, nani kama mimi. So I thought, can I take Chinese? So
there's also the options of the languages.
Yes, a lot. Chinese, German, Spanish. There are 21 disciplines.
All right. They're quite a number,
Sociology, political science, communication, linguistics. I couldn't find what to do. So I asked my friend, what would you recommend? And he told me communication. I'm like, communication? I mean, communication is just talking, right? Why should I take it? I mean, I can take Chinese. I mean, that time...
everybody wants to go to China.
Exactly.
It's the new frontier.
I was like, well, he told me, you take communication. And then back then, I don't know whether it's still the case, you could have taken another language, either French, German, Spanish, and all those languages for free, I think in 1 semester. So he told me, you take communication as a discipline,
and then you can
learn
all the languages for
Chinese as complementary, because that is what university is offering. So I chose communication. You asked why I didn't.
Why didn't you complete? So all this discipline, whatever, you came from the village. Yes,
I came from the village. You start going to school, very dedicated student. But now here comes the challenge. When you come from a poor family, I was talking to a colleague of mine in the morning, and I was telling him, you come from the village, you have your first kadudu phone. Then in the village, people have smartphones because in each are touch screens. What work on a touch screen, and they have laptops. Like, what kind of life are these people living? Then I remember in my second year or first year, there is this lecturer who was a very old mzee. I think he was around 82. He couldn't stand the whole lecture. So, he comes, teaches for like 20 minutes, and then he sits down. And then he says, take out, this is what he used to say, take out your laptops, iPhones, not iPhones, what are they called? Tablets, and smartphones. Go to the handout document that I gave you, page 332, and then he starts explaining mathematics. I mean, how do you explain calculus while seated to people who have no smartphones, to people who have no
so
laptops?
For you didn't have a smartphone,
I didn't have
a tablet yet.
Mimi nikatoka. I mean, what am I doing in class? I don't know what this mzee is saying, and I don't have a place to refer. So I'm just a joyrider in class. Well, that unit, to be honest, even when the exam came, I just went, wrote my name, and left.
So
that was first year. Second semester. Then by the end of that year, I got a laptop, a mini laptop, which I later used to start my business. So that means second year, first sem, I could attend classes perfectly well. I also got help and I got a smartphone.
Yeah.
But now, so come second semester, so we have 7 units. First semester you have 6 units, second semester 7. So 2 units for mathematics, 2 for communication, 2 for economics. So our lecturers for mathematics, this is how it happens. So economics and communication are under the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, which is domiciled at the main campus. Mathematics is, I think, under the College of Sciences. So it's in Chiromo. So the lecturers have the offices in Chiromo, and all other lecturers have their offices in main campus. So the semester has started, and our lecturers have no idea that they are supposed to be teaching classes in
Chiromo.
No, in main campus. That is where I see. So first week, second, third, fourth.
Oh, so then they're going.
We go to class. All classes are bouncing. No lecturer is coming.
Oh, because they're in the main campus. They don't know.
So our class rep has to go to Chiromo, look for the lecturer, and tell him you have a class in main campus. I got tired. I mean, it's half the semester. We don't have a class. I looked online. I saw somebody who was hiring people to do data entry. So during class time, I could come to Westlands, just here, and send emails. It was a data entry job, but mainly what we used to do is send emails.
Oh, that was your first job now?
Yes.
So for you decided, since the lecturer is not coming to class,
I can go get 50 bob, 100 bob for that 1 hour, because I think I used to get paid 50 bob per hour to send those emails. I mean, if I come work for 2 hours, comrade kupata 100, and you're living in the hostels, my friend, that's a lot of money.
And first of all, because you mentioned you came from the village, there was no that pressure for you to earn that particular degree and primarily go get a job and do all that stuff? Why did you want to defy the path that you'd actually been set from the village?
Of course it was there, but just like the Gen Z, nobody tells me what to do.
All right.
It's my life.
You decide what to do.
I decide what to do. So I could go to other classes, but mathematics classes, I mean, I'm one person who is more into knowledge than the papers. So you can't tell me a curriculum of a whole, I think it's usually 15 weeks. You'll teach it in 7 weeks and then do an exam. I mean, I won't gain the whole knowledge. So it's like, I'll come back later and do this units.
Also, you literally decided, let me just take a break from
those 2 units. And of course, I got a supplementary in first year.
So you just, 3 units left for you, or you have to go back and finish it?
Yes, so I said I'll come back later when they do the next enrollment. Second year finished, third year. And then I discovered you can actually do extra units. You see, I'm a government sponsored student. So I can do as many units as I want from any discipline, as long as it doesn't conflict with other classes. So when I realized that, I used to register for more communication units than required.
Interesting.
Yes. So somewhere along the line, my love for mathematics and economics fell, and my love for communication
came to me.
Yes. So I ended up doing more units in communication than it was required.
Okay. And now I get you. So you still have pending units that you're supposed to be done with in the university, but you now decided now to start looking for money to fend yourself. So you mentioned that you started doing data entry jobs.
Yes.
And then where did your interest in business start coming to be? Because primarily you're not finishing this, so primarily means that you won't have the papers, you won't have employment. So how did your interest in business start coming about?
So, tumefika 2014. Between 2011 and 2011, 2012, 2013, and all those years, I was very much interested in politics. I was very political. I actually, people even called me.
Like you're talking about politics earlier on. Like you're not.
Let me tell you, my most famous name is Kimani Governor. Ask anyone in Nairobi. That is the name they know. Because I was very much political and I wanted to one day become a governor. And most of my friends were politicians. Even today, most of my friends are politicians. In as much as I'm in business, so I used to do a lot of politicking. And when I joined uni, I never joined university politics actively, but I became friends with people who are in
actively
politics.
Involved. Yes.
So, and I used to ask myself a lot of questions, especially during orientation. We are thousands of us in Taifa Hall during the first orientation, and some young guys, 2 guys, were seated with the VC and the DVCs and the Dean, at the tires. I'm like, okay, we don't do that in the village. In the village, wazendo wanakanga pale mbele. But I can see young guys. And then there is that booklet. I don't know whether it's called the prospectus. So when you join uni, you are normally given. I don't know whether they still give, because nowadays things are digital. So when I looked at that book, those two gentlemen were also in that book.
Prospectus, yeah.
Yes. Like one of them was the chairman of SONU. The other one was the chairman of the law school, Parklands. I won't mention their names. I was very interested in knowing exactly what they did
to get
there. So I looked for them, and the chairman of SONU became my friend. So through him, he introduced me now to his network. You see, if you are the president, if you are the president of a university body such as the University of Nairobi, you can see what Babu has become. You are a very powerful person and you have a lot of networks. So he called me, he taught me how to read things on the internet. He taught me how to watch things on YouTube. I mean, I had never heard of YouTube. He introduced me to his friends in different unis. And now those friends introduced me to many other things. So one of them, who currently works at the government of county government of Murang'a, introduced me to motivational speaking. He used to do motivational speaking. So we did a lot of motivational speaking.
So you became one?
Yes, I became one. I went to over 50 schools.
Also, you became a motivational speaker?
Yes.
So you're going to motivate people to go to university, but you didn't go to university.
I'm in uni. I'm still in uni.
Oh, yes. During that time?
Yes, it was during university time. I was in my second year. So my second year and my third year, we did a lot of motivational speaking. Different schools. And he told me, oh, you need a company name. What are you talking about? So we just have a name you can be using. He said, Kimani Patrick Life Train, training people about life. To even created business cards, a list of services we're offering. So he introduced me to so many things. And then he told me, if you want to network with successful people, you have to go to where they are. So he introduced me to nice restaurants. And the first time I paid tea for 40 shillings.
From the village.
I mean, how do you buy tea for 40 shillings? I mean, in which app? I mean, I'm not used to that. So he introduced me to such kind of places, introduced me to so many people. And then another thing, this guy told me, the chairman of SONU back then, he told me, in this Nairobi, you are at the best of everything in Kenya. Everything, anything you want is in this city. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But it is for you to choose. But you will not find it in class. In class is only learning. But everything else
it's also
is
the
in
class.
This city. Yes. Find events, volunteer. So I went to an event at KICC one day. And there's this gentleman, I don't know what he had done. The only thing I remember is the president was there, the former president, Uhuru. And the president mentioned this guy's name. And that stood out for me. It's like, how can a president recognize somebody who is 20? I was 20 at that time. I learned this guy was in business. I don't know what he was doing. Then later, after some time, I used to attend a lot of events. And I used to read newspapers. I mean, if you just go to the library, the newspapers are free. There's this guy, Eric Kinoti, who was featured in the newspaper, how he started selling eggs. I discovered, so even when people do business, they also get featured in the newspaper. So I became very curious to read more stories about young people who are in business. 2014 passed, came 2015. I was in my long holiday after second year. So there's this gentleman who runs a restaurant in town. Generally, mimi ni mchokozi. So if I see you, you're different from other people, I always talk to you. So during one of my visits to the restaurant with my friend, I discovered this guy is older than others, the waiters and the waitresses. He doesn't have a uniform, but he's moving around. So I said, excuse me, sir, how are you? Do you work here? It's like, yeah, but you look so different. He told me, I'll share with you that conversation. So he asked me what I do. I told him I'm in school. He told me, during your next long holiday, come, I'll give you work. So I took his number. So in my second year holiday, I went and worked for him. He taught me a lot of things about business. And I used to meet a lot of people in business. Now you see, I'm serving in a restaurant all the time. And a lot of entrepreneurs come to take breakfast, lunch, meetings. So I interacted with a lot of them. And then I discovered Business Daily. So I could buy Business Daily every Tuesday, every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Because they used to share a lot of articles from Entrepreneur Magazine and a lot of stories from entrepreneurs. That is how I met my mentor, George Washuri. Because his story was featured in February of 2015 about how he had built his, I remember, 1 billion real estate farm. I was like, how do people do this? I mean, you build a farm to a tune of 1 billion plus. I want to know how you do it because I want to get there one day. So I looked for him on Facebook. Luckily, that time he was managing his social media pages. We connected. I started attending his events. Those days he used to do a lot of events. And he taught me now things about business, how to register a company, because I used to ask him, if I want to register a company, what do I do? So remember, I'm still doing motivational speaking, but now I want to register my first form of business. So I registered Invask in August of 2015 as a sole proprietorship. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but at least knowing that you have a registered business makes you feel good. In as much as there's nothing you're doing, they felt good. I mean, I have a business. When people who own businesses are called, nimesimama hata kama inajua. Then later, that 2015 passed. I don't know, what do I do with this business?
So you registered the business, but you didn't have an idea.
I didn't have anything I wanted to do. Yes. I thought I could do branding. I didn't know anything about branding. I don't even have the money to do anything. I mean, and I was just 21. I turned 22.
Oh, early 20s, yeah.
Yes, I was very young. This is like 9 years ago. So I thought I do motivational speaking quite well. And I used to have a blog, kimanipatrick.com. I used to write personal development stories. So I thought I can drop my personal blog and start a personal development blog. So Invask started out as a personal development blog. So that was the
first business?
Yes, my first business, so a blog for personal development things. So I used to write stories about personal development, tips on how to wake up at 5 a.m., which I no longer wake up at 5 anyway. How to improve your execution and all those kind of things. I looked for contributors. Later, the blog transitioned into a business magazine for startups in I did the first edition on May 14th, 2016. Then launched the business immediately after campus on March 30th, 2017. So now that is what now has transformed me into now who I am now. Yes. So it has been one thing leading to another. Yes.
And so you mentioned you started it as a blog and then transitioned it into a magazine. But how are you making money?
I was not making money.
So it was also just...
I was a student. I was a student.
So probably just like you have a company, this is probably what you would, even through the motivational, you wanted to make money? Or your
motivation I used to get paid 10K, 15K, 5K,
all right.
But now this blog was not making any money. And you see, just like anybody who wants to start a blog today, my thought was, I'll monetize the blog through Google Ads. But I can tell you, for all that period, I only got paid 20K.
20K?
Yes.
Oh.
From Google Ads. And you know when I closed that blog? November of last year.
So all those years, almost...
I stopped publishing articles November of 2023. And I closed it officially 2 weeks ago. I think it was around, it's not even 2 weeks ago, around 14th July this year. I think it was last week. That is when I officially said, to hell with this thing, I closed it officially. But now, of course, you see, I've been doing other things with Calstick. But you see, I later discovered how to monetize this thing. Because when I did the launch of the magazine as a business, it didn't work and I made huge losses, which led me to getting into depression. But then later I could start Young CEO's Breakfast, which my first event I made over 200,000 from the same blog that was not giving me money. Then later I discovered if Google cannot pay me I can approach people like Ian, who has a business that wants to promote a product. I write a story about that business, or I write a story about your product, and then publish it on this blog, and then you pay me a premium. So if I write an article for you, and I get 5,000, I write an article for another person, they pay me 10,000. I approach another company, and I write 4 articles for them in a month, and they pay me 20,000 every month. I mean, that's business.
Interesting.
That's how I discovered I could monetize the blog. So I used to make money that way from the blog and not from
the business.
Not from Google Ads and all those things. Yes. And then I did events. I remember one day Optiven approached me and asked me, "You do this magazine very nicely, like the design. Can you do a newsletter for me?" So I did a newsletter for them. And then later, Credit Bank asked me, "Can you run social media for us?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, and that's how the
yes.
All right.
So I mean, if Credit Bank had approached me to run the social media pages, why can't you approach me? I mean, let me offer it as a service.
All right.
I remember they asked me, "What are your packages?" I didn't have.
All right.
Yes.
So we'll pause it there. We'll take a short commercial break, and then when we're back, we're going to find out how did he end up now monetizing some of the ideas that he had, and actually ended up started building up a business. So I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, we are having a conversation with Mr. Patrick Kimani, who's just taking us through his particular journey on how exactly he ended up from the village onto town, got into university, never got to finish the university, started off his particular businesses. We started up exploiting different particular ideas, and one of the core elements that where we stopped at was the point of you now trying to start this blog. You did not make money, and then you started looking for different ways to monetize. So just take us through this particular journey of monetization, because I think all of us have this idea, I want to do a blog, I want to do this writing, but you're someone who has actually walked this journey whereby you realized, I started a blog, you couldn't, after like 10 years, the only much you've made is 20,000, but in between you needed to make money. Take us through your journey of now monetizing the idea.
Okay, there's something I'll tell you. Just because something worked for me doesn't mean it will work.
True.
And just because something didn't work for me doesn't mean it
Should
will
work for you. Yeah.
So this is how it happened. I'm one person who believes in luck. I don't know if you believe in luck.
Yeah.
I believe in luck. I believe in favor, because I'm a very lucky person, and I'm a very highly favored person by God. And I'll tell you why. Because majorly for the last since I started this trying to make money in 2015, it's around 9 years. Mostly it's been about people discovering my potential and paying me for it. You get? So even when I discovered that I can charge something, it's somebody who approached me, somebody that knew me and that knew what I do and my potential, and discovered that they can use it to accomplish their goals. You get? So I started making newsletters because a company approached me and asked me if I could do newsletters for them, and I charged. The first newsletter I did, I charged 7,000. I started doing articles because PR, Glasshouse PR, Merinjoki, I don't know if you know.
I know Merinjoki, yeah.
Merinjoki, I don't know how I met Merinjoki. Honestly, I honestly do not know how I met her. But I remember one day, she approached me and told me, there's this story we want to run for this company, and that was Credit Bank. And we want to publish in your blog. And she didn't pay me. And then she later told me how PR works and what they were trying to do. So I discovered, so companies can pay to have articles published in my blog. So in as much as from that article I didn't earn, it created me a network with people from Credit Bank. And at the same time, it made me realize that I can actually approach companies and do stories for them in my blog and pay me. You get? So it's not me who came up with these ideas, because the ideas that I had of putting Google ads on my site didn't work. But the ideas of other people came and I was able to monetize. Then that relationship that was created between Merinjoki and Credit Bank now reached out to me directly and asked me if I can run the social media. How I started out events is I always wanted to launch my business. I mean, I'm done with uni, college. What am I going to do? I mean, let me launch a business. And in early 2010s, a lot of businesses were being launched. Ian comes up with an idea, a startup, and he does a very spectacular event of launching the business. So it was the same thing I wanted to do. I wanted to launch the biggest business magazine in Kenya that will compete with Forbes magazine. And how do I do it? I bring 1,500 people to All Saints Cathedral, Trinity Center, a very big auditorium, and we can launch the business. And actually, that's why I fellowship. So booking the hall was easy. It was reserved for me, but I didn't have the money. And we had done a very good plan on how we were going to launch that business. And we did a lot of campaigns. People came and told me, you can trend on Twitter. I was like, oh yeah, I can trend. How much do you want? He told me, this is the amount. You see, I don't have the money. So we will trend. We will get people to come to the event. They will pay. And then after the event, I can pay these guys. Could trend now to trend. I won't lie to you. Inverse Lounge used to trend #1 on Twitter. I think for 3 weeks. At least twice a week. For how many weeks?
3 weeks.
And our target was 1,500 people. Do you know how many people came?
How many?
70.
From
So-
1,500, less than 10%.
Yes, not even 10. Like
Less
that is
than.
like less than 5%. So, of course, the money that I had made agreements on to pay
You
the
couldn't.
people who were helping me hype on social media, the MC, the photography, and all these.
The suppliers,
around 245,000. I mean, I didn't have it.
How much did you raise from the event?
I think less than 50K. I can't even remember.
And your bills are more
Because
than 50K.
only 50 people paid
Yeah.
500 shillings. That is like how much?
25,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I think there's somebody who paid 10K to come and exhibit. But one of that event didn't work, but it worked in this way. Remember that time? We're talking about March 2017. KCB Lions Den was launched in 2016. And I was lucky to be a friend of Dashan. Dashan was one of the lions at Lions Den. So he came to my event as a speaker. And Merinjoki also came to my event. And then another guy called Peter from OptEvent came to my event.
I know Peter, yeah.
Yes. And of course, people wondered, I mean, who is this guy who could
These
get
people, yeah.
Dashan to attend an event? So it raised my profile. And people thought I could connect them with him and all these other things. So it built my profile. But you see, you're famously broke. I don't know.
Unajulikana lakini una kitu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in the media, you know that thing.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm famous, people know me, but I don't have money. It opened doors for me to the media. I mean, I got so many media interviews, right, left and center. Unaingia kwa watu wanakuangalia hivi and
Unakuona pahali.
like unafanya nini hapa? You see that thing. People look at you. I mean, you're supposed to be driving. Mind you, I was living in a Mabati house and I was paying 3,500 as rent. So all that confusion and being in debt led me into depression for 14 months.
And there's this thing, because I have conversation with so many different entrepreneurs and everybody has gone to the point of depression, maybe out of maybe the business takes you to depression, or maybe aspects in and around during a phase of entrepreneurship takes you into depression. How did you come out of this particular phase? And what are some of the lessons, maybe in brief, that you can actually share for anybody who's literally going through that down moment?
Well, the thing about depression is mainly those people who are depressed don't know. You never know that you are depressed.
Yeah.
And you start by isolating yourself from people, sleeping a lot, not doing things that you're supposed to do. For you, it seems, I mean, it's really normal,
yeah.
but it is not. So during that period, there's a lot of things that I never did. I was broke, so sometimes even a client could call me for a meeting. They want us to discuss business.
But they need to send fare.
70 bob ya kukuja tao na kurudi sina. And I know no one who can lend me that 100. So what do I tell the client? Niko mgonjwa. I skipped so many business meetings in
You're sick, but ni mfuko ni mgonjwa.
Yeah. Saying me ni mgonjwa. But later, I sat and asked myself, I mean, maisha haiwezi kuwa ngumu for me alone. I mean, I knew other people who are in business and younger guys, young but older than me. I mean, haiwezi kuwa, it is hard only for me. I had created a lot of networks. If you have followed me cleanly, you will realize I attend a lot of events just to make friends and get to know people. I was like, if things have been difficult for me, it must have been difficult for these other people. How can I call them, my young friends who are in business and they are CEOs? Because every time you start a business, you call yourself a CEO, which technically means Chief Everything Officer. We can sit down, young CEOs, discuss how we can help each other. 20 to 30 people. To my surprise, I got more than 90 people. I actually got 95 people attending that event. From the target of 20 to 30 to 95. People I had never seen. I mean, nobody could have ever told me before that time I was 24. I can organize an event, people from different races attend. I mean, it was a miracle.
From having a failed event earlier on.
Yes. Yeah. A failed event, and later I did some other series of events. I used to do an event called Let's Talk Business every month, and the maximum amount of money I made was 247 shillings.
247, Ajay?
Yes. Yeah?
How?
After calculations and everything. 247 bob. Every other event was a loss. I mean, if you go to my Facebook and search Let's Talk Business, you will see them. And I used to charge 500 shillings. This event I charged 5,000 and I got 95 people. And they wanted to find out, I mean, how can you just organize such a wonderful event like this? There's so much value in it. When is the next one? How frequently do you do this? I mean, they were asking me, how did you get all these people? I mean, I don't know them. I don't even know how they got here. So, but one thing was evident. These people want to have another event. Said, that was February 7, 2018. Said February 7 of 2019, I'll do another one. So I did another one in 2019, and then it became now an annual thing. So the annual CEO's breakfast is now an annual event. We even did one for this year, and next year we'll have the 8th annual CEO's breakfast. So that event opened doors, because when you have millionaires, billionaires, big time entrepreneurs coming to an event where you are the host, you are like the center of attention, and people believe you know everybody that is there. So in one way or the other, they become your friends and acquaintances, and you start doing business with them. So that was 2018. 2019 I did the CEO's breakfast, and I thought now it's time I open an office for Invest. I opened it along with the road. How about you? A co-working space. I was being charged 45,000 a month. I negotiated to 30K. I ran that office, I think, 2.5 months or 3.5 months. Nikafungiwa.
Huko unaweza kulipa rent?
Singeweza.
So primarily you're in business, you're trying to make inroads, but the doors are not opening, but you can't sustain it.
But bado najikaza. But you see, there is this misconception that when you start a business, you need an office. You get? And most people who want to start a business, they will tell you, I need an office space. I need employees. I mean, that's for you to start a business, you only need customers. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. I mean, I didn't know this. So my business is closed. I had an employee and an intern. And it really pained me. I remember I used to go home every day and ask God why. Because this lady I had, who was an admin, had resigned from another job.
Oh, to come here.
To come and work for me.
And then 2 months,
2 months later,
sustain them.
Tumeenda home.
All right. And just from your experience, because I think your journey is quite long, and probably maybe time is not really much on our side, but just looking back, because you've been this person who started business quite young,
Yes.
What's it called? Has had a fair chunk of what's it called? Challenges, failures, and some successes. When you look back, for any person who wants to set up a business at this particular time, what exactly, from your experience, what are some of the lessons you can actually maybe share with them for things to actually consider? One of the things you mentioned, that you don't need an office, you don't need an immediate employees. What are the things that one needs to take in mind when you want to start up a business?
I think to start a business, it's really simple. Starting a business is the easiest thing because you only need to ask yourself, what am I good at? I mean, if it's a service business, I'm a graphic designer. I can start offering graphic design services. So you take the skills that you have as a graphic designer, and then you learn how to sell and market, and then you look for graphic design clients. I mean, it's that simple. You are good in social media. You can start social media management business. What do you need? Customers. So you package yourself, your services. What you can do, you can create content for social media, you can do community management, you can run ads. Or either of those. I mean, if you are really good in managing social media, you can approach someone and tell them, I can help you manage your social media. And you charge them a small fee. Competition is very big. I won't lie to you. There is competition everywhere. But there is a lot of people who need help. So you approach them and then they give you business. If you require graphic design for the content that you're creating for them, you can look for a freelance graphic designer, and then they help you to design the flyers that you'll be posting for this client. If you're good in fashion and you know where to get things in wholesale, I mean, you can start selling suits, you can start selling shoes. You see a shoe is being sold at 2,000 in Isli, you can sell it at 4,000 on Facebook Marketplace or on your WhatsApp status. Yeah, I mean, if a shoe is being sold at 2,000 at wholesale price, and you can have a relationship with that person, why not go talk to them and talk to a customer, and then you link them up, and then you go buy the shoe where the customer pays a down payment, and then you come and bring the shoe, and then you're paid, and then you pay the supplier. If you're a lawyer and you want to start a law business, I mean, most lawyers don't need this, because I mean, lawyers, especially those who have been admitted at the bar, are really good at starting their law firms. If you are a HR, I mean, so many businesses are struggling with compliance. Just look for your friends in business, or approach your neighborhood businesses, and have a list of services that you can help. I can help you in HR compliance, creating a HR manual, running your HR department, and then you start like that by getting clients. That is the easiest thing. The most difficult thing is now growing this business. Yeah, because anytime you start a business, definitely you know where you want the business to be. And now it comes to setting up systems, because you've started a business, you've got your first client, you've gotten your second client, you've gotten your third client, and now you can't serve the clients anymore alone. You need an extra hand to help you serve these clients. That means you need to hire someone. So you need to know how to exactly hire the right person to help you run the business. So either they will help you offer the services, or they will help you in administration, or they will help you in business development, acquiring your clients. When you hire the second person, probably you're still working from home, and you've gained some consistent income that can cover your expenses, that can cover an extra employee, and now maybe you require an office. Now, when you get to a point where you need an office, definitely it means now you have to put in more systems. You go look for an office space, probably a small space that can fit 2-3 people. You need to either go to a co-working space or get an empty space, fill in with furniture. You have to pay city council fee, city council license. Probably you didn't register your business. Now you have to incorporate your business, either as a sole proprietor or a limited liability company. When you register a limited liability company, now it comes to issues with compliance. You have to have your HR procedures, the HR procedures and the policy guidelines, because now you have started hiring employees. You have to register for NSSF, NHIF, NITA, you have to file all those taxes. You see, because now you have employees, you have to be compliant, and you have to have sufficient income to be able to meet all these particular demands. If you do it alone, you will find yourself messing up. I've seen people who started businesses, and from the onset, when they took that KRA pin, they registered as their tax obligation as VAT. You see, and you didn't know that, number one, there is a threshold up to which, unless you're dealing with vertible goods, there is a threshold you need to reach, which is 5 million for you to register as a VAT. You can do it VAT obligation. You can do it voluntarily, but if you register and you hujafikisha hapo, and you don't know that VAT returns are due on every 20th, that means every month you don't file for VAT returns, there is a penalty. Most people don't know, and that brings a very big issue of compliance. Number two, you have hired an employee, you've not given them a contract, even if it is a volunteer, because anybody working for you, per law, you're supposed to issue them with a contract. In 2017, I worked with someone, I didn't have a contract with them. She was an intern, and I can tell you, I faced it rough because I was sued. So anybody working for you must be having a contract. And then, of course, that contract has to be compliant with the Employment Act. You have to deduct statutories, mandatory. Whether they like it or not, you have to deduct NSSF, you have to deduct NHIF, pay as you earn, NITA, and you have to file these returns. If you don't deduct, if you don't file, there is a penalty for filing, and if you don't deduct, definitely these agencies will definitely catch up with you. You get, and at the same time, you have the challenges of looking for more consistent business. So as you continue to grow as a company, you have one employee, that means you're taking one more person. This person has a different social orientation than you, has a different viewpoint from you, has different overview of things from you, and you have to manage them, you have to lead them. You hire another person, now you are responsible for creating a culture for your business. So all those things combined can really definitely overwhelm you.
So before we come to the end, I have like 10 questions, quick fire questions. 10. Yes, so it's quick fire questions. I'll just put you on the spot. So the first question, what's the greatest risk you've ever taken? Quick fire.
I think being alive is a risk in itself.
What's your favorite month?
August, my birthday month.
Money or happiness?
Happiness.
How do you usually answer the phone?
Loudspeaker, all the time.
How? Masabanga, hello, whatever. What do you say? Hello from the other side?
No, it's different. I can say hello, sometimes I can say Kimani speaking, sometimes I can just answer and keep quiet.
Are you more of a thinker or a doer?
Depends on the situation.
What do you think the meaning of life is?
Oh, does life really have a meaning? You just get going.
Money or happiness?
Happiness.
And the final question, what scares you?
Being with the wrong people.
Thanks so much, Patrick, for having come to the show, and thank you so much to the viewers for having watched the show. Hope you've learned a thing or two from this particular conversation. As always, you can follow us on social media, KTN Home across all particular platforms, Ian Dennis Network. Also, you can find 2 of my books across all textbook centers. That's Business Conquest and Food for Thought. My name is Ian Dennis, and this has been The Late Night Business. Until next time, I'll see you right here on KTN Home.